Hello fellow Star Wars fans, my name is Starrapter and welcome to the channel. As you can tell, I'm just a little bit excited because today we are breaking down week 5 of War of the Bounty Hunters, and this starts off with War of the Bounty Hunters issue number 1, which has been teased for months. This is the big event, this miniseries that will run until October, 5 issues. It's written by Charles Soule with artwork by Luke Ross. Charles Soule and the team has been hyping it up, saying there's going to be huge reveals, and we got one here. As you read in the title, Qi'ra is back in Star Wars, and it's after the events of The Empire Strikes Back, so it's like 13 years or so after the events of Solo. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how that comes to be. So in order to understand this, we have to understand that in the prelude issue, War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha, Boba Fett loses the bounty of Han Solo while he's on Nar Shaddaa. So we pick up with Boba Fett, he's at this canteen, and next thing you know, he's getting shot at because he's quick to realize there's a bounty on him. And then he's going to Slave One after he dispatches those people. He's going to Slave One, he gets ambushed by 4LOM and Zuckuss. The next thing you know, he kicks Zuckuss off the building, he beheads 4LOM, takes his head, plugs it into the Slave One, and figures out, hey, there's a bounty on me, and it's not actually on Solo. So he goes back to Tatooine. Jabba's gone. He's off with his fleet somewhere. But Bib Fortuna steps in for him, and Boba is quick to get very, very angry because he wants to know why there's a bounty on his head, right? So it's obviously that Jabba put a bounty on his head for being a little bit late on his delivery of Han Solo and Carbonite, but he's explaining that, hey, this thing was taken from me, it wasn't my fault. And so Bib Fortuna says, hey, there's actually an invitation that was sent to Jabba through the Crimson Dawn. The Crimson Dawn is resurfacing. They haven't been around for years. It's insinuated in a scene with Jabba in the Council of the Hutts that ever since this person, they refer to this person as a him, I'm guessing they're thinking of Darth Maul. Ever since Maul's been out of the picture, it seems like Crimson Dawn has gone nowhere. So Qi'ra is stepping in to basically throw this big party, inviting, people from all over the galaxy, as we've seen in the prelude for Bounty Hunters, inviting all these different people. Actually, it was in the prelude for Dr. Aphra. I'm sorry about that. They're trying to get all these people because she's trying to get power again. Basically, long story short, is Boba Fett finds out that she is the one that's throwing his party, knows the location, and is going to go kill her because she wronged him and stole his bounty from him, basically besmirching his image. So there you go. Boba Fett is on a crash course to kill Qi'ra. He doesn't know it's Qi'ra, but we know at the last panel of this specific comic book, she and her cronies, she introduces herself, or they introduce her as Lady Qi'ra. So there you go, guys. Crimson Dawn is back in the picture of Star Wars after the events of Empire Strikes Back, years and years after we see her in Solo. So huge ramifications in a comic book. And what I will say is that comic books, for the most part, people don't talk about them nearly as much, but I think people are definitely going to talk about this one because this carries on the legacy of a character that we didn't know what was happening with her. We know she's alive after Solo, but where is she? We thought we would get a Solo 2, but here we are getting her in a comic. But I do want to talk a little bit more specifics about this issue before talking more of that. So Boba Fett was awesome in this issue. We don't really get a lot of character development of the character, but we see a lot of action. We see him, wielding dual blasters. We see him using a flamethrower on a Gamorrean, shooting another one in the face point blank. We see him using a blade to cut off 4LM's head. We see him just being absolutely brutal, just killing everyone that he can to get his job done. If there's one thing we know about Boba Fett, he's very driven, he's very direct when it comes to what he wants. Also, we see, Jabba in space. He's on this thing called the Shadru war barge, and he's got plenty of other ships. So it's really interesting seeing Jabba not actually at his palace on Tatooine. I thought that was a really cool thing. And he has this, all these different huts. Boku from the Darth Vader prelude that came out last week is there. We have a couple other huts, and one of the huts is like 1,000 years old, and they mention the one character, Chancellor Lina So from the High Republic. So his brain's all messed up because he thinks he's back in time. So he's a really old Hutt. So I just appreciate the fact that we have a Hutt council, kind of like the Jedi Council, but for Hutts. So we know this is important, that even though Jabba dies in Return of the Jedi, there might be some other Hutts there that kind of try to build up his lineage or his legacy. But yeah, I mean, just overall, seeing the Crimson Dawn, I just want to talk about that. Seeing them come into play so far into the events of the original trilogy, right? Like, you have all these different crime syndicates, from the Pikes to the Black Sun, which I hope we see more of, to the Hutts, obviously, all these guys. And Crimson Dawn has been there lying in wait. They've been there lying in wait. Qi'ra is going to bring these guys up, and wouldn't that be something if the Crimson Dawn ends up being like one of the biggest powers in the criminal syndicates after the events of Return of the Jedi? I would like to see them survive on. I would like to see them be a big proponent, and maybe something like Book of Boba Fett, where we know he's going to probably deal with the underworld. Hey, wouldn't that be something if Qi'ra survives and she ends up being in the Book of Boba Fett, and she's like the big antagonist to Boba Fett's like reign of crime and all that kind of thing? There's so much when you introduce a character like this far into the timeline. And it's nice to see the comics actually playing such a pivotal role. Like, they could have had a Solo too, but no, they put her in the comics, so we know she's playing around with these characters. And the fact that she has Han and Carbonite, like, those kind of things bring the feels, because I guess she hasn't seen Han since the time that he left her on whatever it is, Saraviv or whatever the planet was. So to see her have Han, and she's using Han as a bargaining chip, because remember, the Empire wants Han, Darth Vader wants Han to lure Luke. The Rebels want Han, obviously, because he's their friend. And you know, all these different characters want Han, and that is her string. She's pulling in front of everybody to get her way. So she has been lying in wait in the shadows and doing it extremely well. But overall thoughts on this. So I thought as a mini-series crossover, this would have more of an ensemble cast. I was hoping to see like maybe Luke Skywalker or Byron Valance or Darth Vader kind of all show up in this at once. Not saying that's not going to happen, but I'm just very intrigued and curious about the way they're going to dole out these stories, because we know next week in Bounty Hunters, they're going to have Chewbacca versus Dengar and Byron Valance, you know, so there's going to be different stories that are still going to continue on like the side of the War of the Bounty Hunters, which comes out every week. But other than that, huge news in Star Wars today with this comic. I want to let you guys know to put your comments in the comment section down below. What did you think of this huge reveal of Qi'ra? Was it the person or the thing that you think would happen? I personally thought it was going to be Black Sun and having Prince Zizor show up. Not to say it's not going to happen. I think there's a good chance that could still happen, because there's got to be like a head honcho of the Black Sun, and we really don't know who that is. Maybe in the Aftermath they might have told us that, the Aftermath books. But I digress. I want to talk to you guys about this awesome Star Wars reveal. Let's talk about it down there in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars, I have put out my spoiler-free review for the next High Republic book called Star Wars: The High Republic, The Rising Storm by Kevin Scott. I really did like it. So make sure you go ahead and check out that video if you're a High Republic fan. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and may the Force be with you always.
Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.